E. I never thought a simple conversation could change everything. I thought I had everything under control: my marriage, my life, the balance between freedom and commitment. But one bold decision, one proposal, one conversation with my husband, and suddenly, everything I thought I knew about myself, my marriage, and my relationships was tossed out the window. This is the story of how I set the stage for chaos, how I asked for more and ended up losing everything. And trust me, you won't believe how it all spiraled out of control. We were never the typical couple. My husband Alex and I had always prided ourselves on being open-minded. We weren't traditional, never followed the rules that other couples did. I loved him, but I also loved my independence. I didn't want to feel trapped. I wanted freedom. At the beginning, our relationship was wild. We traveled together, had our share of adventures, and explored new things. But as the years went by, I started to feel the weight of routine settling in. The spark we once had gone, the passion fading, the connection distant. And the worst part? I had started to crave more. I began to wonder, what if there was more to life than just him? More experiences, more connections, more excitement. It was a terrifying thought, but it was there, gnawing at me every day. That's when I came up with the idea. It wasn't a reckless thought at first. It seemed logical. I could talk to him about it, and we could explore the possibility of an open marriage, just the two of us communicating our desires openly. What's the harm in that? I wasn't looking to destroy our marriage, I told myself. I just wanted to feel alive again. So one evening, after we'd had a few glasses of wine, I brought it up. His initial reaction was exactly what I expected: curious, intrigued, but cautious. "What do you mean, open?" he asked, his brow furrowed in confusion. "You mean, like, sleeping with other people?" I nodded, the words feeling heavier than I expected. "Yes," I said softly. "I think we could try it. Together. Just no secrets. Just honesty." Alex was silent for a moment, taking it in. I could see the wheels turning in his head. Was he shocked? Maybe. But he didn't say no. Instead, he said, "We'll have to talk about it more." And so we did. For hours we talked, debated, argued, and ultimately came to an agreement. We would try it. A one-time experiment. No expectations, no promises, but an understanding that it could be something we explored together. You're probably thinking, how could she? I know. I ask myself that too sometimes. But in that moment, the idea of being free, of having control over my desires, felt like a release. The tension between us had been suffocating, and I thought this might bring us closer, perhaps even reignite the flame we once had. But I was wrong. The first encounter was exhilarating. It felt like stepping into a world I didn't know existed. I felt bold, confident, and powerful. Alex and I were still together that night, physically, emotionally, but there was a distance between us. Something had shifted. The first man I slept with outside of our marriage was someone I had known for years. He was charming, intelligent, and surprisingly attentive. I had always found him attractive, but I never acted on it, not until the night we made it happen. Afterward, I went back to Alex, the excitement of the night still buzzing in my veins. But when I looked at him, I saw something I hadn't noticed before: hesitation. We didn't talk about it much afterward. I think we were both too scared to acknowledge what it meant. The spark that had been reignited was now flickering, uncertain. But that wasn't the worst part. The second time I met someone, things got messy. I didn't realize how much I was craving the validation, the attention, the feeling of being desired by someone who wasn't Alex. And when I met Jason, it was undeniable. He was everything I needed in that moment. Smart, magnetic, confident, everything Alex wasn't at that time. And then, it happened again. The chemistry was undeniable. It wasn't just physical. There was a deeper connection I couldn't explain. I was drawn to him in ways I hadn't been drawn to Alex in months, maybe years. We met several times after that. Each time it became harder to separate myself from Jason. And with each meeting, I found myself drifting further from Alex. I knew I was walking a dangerous path, but it felt too good. It felt too right. But then, just like that, things started spiraling. Alex started to notice. It was subtle at first, just small changes in my behavior, in the way I looked at him. But soon enough, he asked the question, "Are you seeing him again?" I froze. The weight of the question hit me like a freight train. "I'm not doing anything wrong," I said quickly. "It's not like that." But I knew it was, and he knew it too. The tension between us grew unbearable. He began pulling away, becoming distant. It wasn't just the physical distance, it was the emotional distance that hurt the most. We weren't talking anymore. We weren't sharing anymore. The openness we had promised each other had turned into secrets, into lies. And then came the worst moment. The moment I never saw coming. Alex had found something. A text. A message from Jason. I never thought he would go through my phone. But he did. The message was innocent at first glance. But when Alex read it, he saw everything. He saw my confession. He saw my lies. And he saw the truth about how far I had gone. He didn't confront me right away. He was quiet, eerily quiet. And it made me nervous. And then, a few days later, he asked me to sit down. "We need to talk," he said, his voice sharp and cold. I felt the floor drop out from beneath me. I knew what was coming, but I wasn't prepared for it. "What's been going on, Emma?" he asked, his eyes piercing through me. "You've been distant. You've been lying. I saw the messages. So, tell me, what exactly is happening here?" I tried to explain. I tried to justify myself, but I could see the hurt in his eyes. The betrayal in his gaze. This wasn't just a conversation anymore. This was the end of something. And I knew that. The chaos didn't stop there. Alex was gone for days, refusing to talk to me, refusing to come home. I was left alone with the consequences of my actions. The open marriage that I thought would bring freedom had brought nothing but destruction. I didn't realize it then, but in my quest for freedom, I had pushed him away. I had betrayed the trust that we had built over the years. And Jason? He was never what I thought he was. He was just a fleeting distraction, a temporary fix for something that had long been broken. When Alex came back, I begged for his forgiveness. I told him I was sorry. I promised that I'd make things right. But the damage was done. The distance between us had grown too wide, too deep. And just like that, everything I thought I wanted, everything I thought I had gained, slipped through my fingers.